Taiwan raids the offices of Chinese shell companies set up to poach local talent and steal tech secrets. Enemy of the Empire State. A New York governor's aide is charged with acting as an agent of the Chinese government. How close are we to smart factories powered by AI? We take a closer look at the future of manufacturing.
Only big companies have the resource to play with a very expensive big toy. But most of the majority, they cannot catch up.
Plus, the world's a stage, so why trash it? A theater group in Taiwan is pushing to make stage productions more eco-friendly. Good evening. Welcome to TaiwanPlus News. I'm Eric Gao. Starting off in breaking news, former Taipei Mayor Ko Wen-je is facing a second arrest. That's after a court agreed with an appeal seeking to overturn his release on Monday from detention. Prosecutors suspect that Ko was party to a corrupt deal aimed at getting permission for a shopping mall to massively expand its floor area. The scandal has enveloped several officials, and Ko's stature as the founder of one of Taiwan's three biggest political parties has turned this local affair into a national political earthquake. A raid on an office that's nothing more than a facade. Taiwan's investigation bureau has bust open what they say is a sprawling operation by numerous Chinese organizations, all setting up shell companies here in Taiwan in alleged attempts to gain access to the country's most valuable trade secrets and its talent. Reese Ayers reports.
A raid on an office that's just simply a facade. Taiwan's investigation bureau has bust open what they say is a sprawling operation by numerous Chinese organizations, all setting up shell companies in Taiwan in alleged attempts to gain access to the country's most valuable trade secrets and talent. As the producer of most of the world's most advanced computer chips, Taiwan is home to many of the industry's most capable engineers. And Beijing wants them working for China.
台积电的 Ko Wen-je 或者是 Info 这一类的技术，目前其实大陆还没有半个封装厂或晶圆代工厂所能够做得出来的。我们的电子产业链的工程师跟人才，尤其是半导体产业链，其实可以用熟又大碗来形容。
It's that cost effectiveness that could be one reason China has been able to lure away so many engineers, as Taiwanese employers don't offer competitive salaries. The investigation identified 8 Chinese organizations, including several backed by Chinese state enterprises and the Communist Party's finance ministry, behind shell companies set up via third parties and using fake capital. The complicated network is deliberately designed to muddy paper trails and conceal the identity of the real benefactors. While shell companies themselves aren't illegal, misrepresenting what your company does is. Taiwan also has very strict procedures for companies looking to set up shop if they have links to China. Bypassing those procedures is also illegal. Now in the hands of Taiwan's investigation bureau, the shell companies are going to be dealt with according to the law, though it's unlikely to deter China from finding new ways to exercise its influence over Taiwan. Justin Wu and Reese Ayers in Taipei for TaiwanPlus.
In the U.S., a former aide for the governor of New York has been charged with being an agent for the Chinese government, including allegedly blocking Taiwanese officials from meeting U.S. state counterparts. Now, to explain more about this case, Tiffany Wong joins us live from Taipei. Tiffany, how was this official reportedly helping the Chinese government?
Well, prosecutors are saying that former aide Linda Sun served as an agent for the Chinese Communist Party in exchange for millions of dollars and extravagant gifts, including gourmet duck catered by the Chinese consulate's chef. She worked in the New York State Governor's office for over a decade under former Governor Andrew M. Cuomo and current Governor Kathy Hochul. And they said that she directly interfered in the state office's relations with Taiwanese officials by doing things like blocking former Governor Cuomo from attending a banquet when Taiwan's then President Tsai Ing-wen was on visit in New York, and also declining invitations from the Taiwan's de facto ambassador to Governor Kathy Hochul. They say that she also forged letters to give to Chinese state officials to help facilitate their visits to the U.S. illegally. And the FBI raided her multi-million-dollar home in July, but they didn't make any arrests back then. Now she's been indicted on 10 counts, including visa fraud and money laundering, and that money laundering also with her husband, who has business interests in China. Now, they've both pled not guilty. They've been released on bond, but they've had to give up their passports for now. Governor Hochul's office said that Sun was let go in March 2023 after they discovered evidence of misconduct, but it's unclear what exactly that misconduct was, and they said that they reported that to law enforcement and have since been cooperating with the investigation.
And Tiffany, what's the significance of this case coming to light right now? What kind of impact could it have on U.S.-China ties?
Well, it really adds to the precarity of U.S.-China relations at this moment. It comes just 2 months before the U.S. elections in November, when fears of Chinese election interference are high, and it really adds pressure to the U.S. to crack down on any Chinese interference now. This comes just a week after the U.S. National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan was in Beijing. He met with Chinese President Xi Jinping there, and also Foreign Minister Wang Yi, hoping to cool down tensions. But that was seen as the precursor to a potential final visit between the U.S. President Joe Biden and President Xi Jinping before Biden leaves office in January. But now with this latest case, it could derail any of the positive momentum in the bilateral relationship there. As far as Linda Sun's case goes, it's unclear how exactly she became involved with the Chinese Communist Party. We've also contacted Taiwan's foreign ministry for comment on how she potentially affected Taiwan's dealings in the U.S., but they didn't respond in time for air.
Thank you for that update, Tiffany. That was our reporter Tiffany Wong joining us live from Taipei. Now, the de facto U.S. ambassador to Taiwan has spoken to the press for the first time since taking on the position in July. Raymond Green says it's important for Taiwan to keep a strategic balance here in Asia.
加上台湾对防卫的投资和出色的军事改革，都不是为了战争做准备，而是要避免战争发生，维持台海和印太地区的战略平衡，能促进两岸和平对话，解决纷争。
Green says China is trying to change the regional status quo, targeting Taiwan and other countries. He is encouraging Taiwan and the U.S. to continue exchanges and to work to bolster security cooperation. The U.S. and Taiwan do not have official diplomatic relations, but Washington is Taipei's largest provider of military equipment and aid. All this week on TaiwanPlus, we've been looking at how Taiwanese firms in Vietnam are pushing their operations to be a leader in that country's digital transformation. Joyce Sun spent a week in Ho Chi Minh City and joins us now in the studio.
Hey, Eric, that's right. We've been looking at how Taiwanese factories are trying to lead an upgrade of Vietnam's manufacturing sector. Now, Taiwan is globally known as a high-tech powerhouse, but bringing cutting-edge tools into a factory setting, especially overseas, comes with many challenges. Now, the reality for many factories in Vietnam right now is that they're just not set up to go digital, let alone bring in something like AI. But I met with a Taiwanese mechanical engineer who leads an alliance of experts across industries to help firms make this transition. And when I asked him overall where Vietnam is in this transformation, this is what he said.
Only big companies have the resource to play with a very expensive big toy. But most of the majority, they cannot catch up. They don't even have the foundation to do it. In Asia, like Taiwan or Vietnam, they used to rely on people to exchange information. That won't be fast enough to solve the problem. We need a digitization tool, a computer, to connect all the data together If you don't have a good tool and management, then it will take many days. If you are still on that stage, then it's impossible for you to use AI. When we talk about Industry 4.0, digital transformation, all these smart factory, smart manufacturing, no single company can solve all the problems. So we need to put all the resources together to collaborate.
And how different has it been implementing your concept in Vietnam versus in Taiwan?
It's very interesting because Taiwan, a lot of people, they have their successful experience. So for experienced people, for experienced operation, it's more difficult to make change. And in Vietnam, luckily, they don't have such a burden. And because of the new opportunities in here, many Taiwan's business, their factories in Vietnam is even much bigger than the one in Taiwan. Reality is, the business have to survive in business, have some profit, so they can reinvest. AI, just like other technology, are just the tools for them to see, okay, is it a good time for me to adapt this solution to solve my problem, to improve my productivity, improve my profit? So just use the same mindset, then you will be okay.
As you just heard, there are some promising opportunities in Vietnam, but the make or break first step is to figure out how to get factory operations online.
And to do that, you're going to need the right people and the right skills.
Absolutely, and tomorrow we'll take you into a university to speak with Vietnamese engineering students at the heart of this effort, because yes, education is a huge piece of this puzzle.
Yes, so be sure to tune in tomorrow for that. Thank you, Joyce. And stay tuned to TaiwanPlus News, because after the break, we find out what's shaking up China's bubble tea market.
Greetings from CNN. On behalf of our team, I'd like to extend our heartfelt congratulations to TaiwanPlus on its 3rd year anniversary.
Taiwan's English language channel to the world, it's very important.
Your discussions of international affairs contribute greatly to advancing understanding of Taiwan.
I think it's a very important addition to Taiwan's ability to tell its story around the world.
We greatly value our ongoing partnership and look forward to continuing a mutually successful collaboration in the years ahead.
In the minds of many of your listeners, it really is TaiwanPlus.
And so let me wish you a very happy birthday.
Happy 3rd anniversary.
A happy 3rd anniversary.
Welcome back. You're watching TaiwanPlus News. Pope Francis is urging leaders in Indonesia, the world's most populous Muslim-majority country, to guard against religious extremism.
In diverse regioni constatiamo il sorgere di violenti conflitti che sono spesso il risultato di una mancanza del rispetto reciproco, una mancanza della volontà tollerante di far prevalere a tutti i costi i propri interessi, la propria posizione o la propria parziale narrazione storica, anche quando ciò comporta sofferenze senza fine per intere collettività e sfocia in vere e proprie guerre sanguinate.
He made the comments in his opening speech on a trip to Southeast Asia. Now, the Pope says the Catholic Church will increase efforts toward interreligious dialogue to help reduce extremism. For more on the Pope's trip, our reporter Louise Watt spoke to Thomas Jingu, a researcher of international relations and particularly the Vatican at National Zhenjiang University here in Taipei.
This is the Pope's longest and furthest trip abroad. Why is he going to these countries, namely Indonesia, Papua New Guinea, East Timor, and Singapore?
You want to have more direct connection with this country, especially for the country like Singapore or Indonesia. They play a vital role in this international society, but they are not Catholic majority. He tried to further the relationship with this country and try to cooperate with the country in the most important international crisis like climate change.
The Vatican is, of course, one of Taiwan's few remaining diplomatic allies. Why isn't the Pope stopping off in Taiwan on his trip to Asia?
This is his longest trip. Already will take 12 days to visit these 4 important countries. It does not mean that he haven't have any plan to visit other Eastern Asia country, but because of the time and days limitation, this time he chose these 4 countries to visit. So probably Taiwan is one in his pocket, but not this time.
There's been a lot of talk and speculation about how the Vatican, specifically Pope Francis, want to draw closer to China. How worried should Taiwan be at that?
I think Taiwan and Vatican, we have very steady and even very strong tie between both sides, because Taiwan Catholic population, we play very significant role in our society. Vatican sent their diplomats in the Philippines as a special delegate to Taipei for President Lai's inauguration. So I think Vatican, they really think of Taiwan's relation is the most important things that they have in East Asia. So I think although they try to manage a relationship with the People's Republic of China, but the main issue is that they try to assist the Chinese Catholic group in China and try to manage Catholic Church to be directly linked to Pope Francis. That is the most important legal part of a Catholic Church. So I think from Taiwan side, we only have to do the one thing is that how to promote Catholic Church and not that worry about their discussion or negotiation with China.
That was Thomas Jingu from National Tsinghua University. Taiwan's stock exchange has plunged by 4.5% after a sell-off in the tech sector. The TAIEX had dropped by as much as 5% in early trading and finished at just over 21,000 points by close of trade on Wednesday. Investor sentiment was hit by poor manufacturing data from out of the U.S., signaling a slowdown in the world's largest economy. And Taiwanese stocks have been riding high on the back of a boom in AI, with companies like TSMC among the key suppliers for U.S. tech giants. But NVIDIA, the world leader in AI, saw its shares dip almost 10%, helping fuel the sell-off here in Taiwan. China's bubble tea market is transforming as the country experiences an economic downturn and young people are becoming more frugal. They're choosing cheaper bubble tea options, and companies are entering the market with new, more affordable drinks. Cadence Garanta reports.
然后今年回归了，我们来尝一下它的口感吧。
Influencer Stacy Chen is reviewing bubble tea drinks for her nearly 200,000 followers on Chinese social media.
但凡其他的口感比较重的情况下，无花果的味道就很容易被。
The Taiwanese milky sweet drinks paired with chewy tapioca balls have become hugely popular in China, particularly among tech-savvy young consumers. Last year, the market was worth over $21 billion, with around 500,000 stores selling the trendy beverage across the country.
有这么多的奶茶品牌，如果平均保持在半个月更新一次，其实我的内容是拍不完的。
Many of China's biggest bubble tea companies gained popularity by offering premium products as pricey status symbols, attractive when the country's economy was booming and living standards were rising. Cups of bubble tea sold for around 30 yuan, or just under $5. But the industry is changing. There's new competition from companies offering the popular drink for very cheap.
就是因为现在现有的市场已经饱和了，所以他们得下沉市场去做增量。那下沉市场去做增量，能干嘛呢？就是降价。 降价，把价格打到最低，打到比较低的位置，然后来保持自己的市场竞争力。
Some brands are now selling cups of bubble tea for under $1, or less than 8 yuan. The biggest chain in China by store count gained a following primarily by offering such affordable drinks. It now has 32,000 stores across the country. The these lower prices a welcome development for young Chinese consumers, whose spending power may no longer be what it was.
再加上以前的话，可能是高端茶饮会做的比较多一点。那现在其实可能大家对这种日常消费的品类的重视度没有那么高了。对，虽然可能每天在喝，但是如果每天30多，可能还是会有一些压力。
A crucial driver of the country's economy, China's young people are becoming more frugal, seeking discounts on everything from food to travel, according to an online survey and consumer trends analysts. Many of them are struggling to find jobs as the country's economy experiences a downturn. Over 15% between the ages of 16 to 24 were unemployed earlier this year, much higher than the national average. And for those with jobs, making ends meet is no easy task.
工作压力也大，现在这个经济大环境也不好，薪资这些都不太乐观，然后可能会选择购物时一些。
And this growing frugality among China's young consumers is expected to affect the country's economy, already coming into focus when they buy their bubble tea, a trend that's gone from luxury to practicality. Dolphine Chen and Cadence Quaranta for TaiwanPlus.
Sustainability might not be the first word that comes to mind when you think about theater and performance. Given the often temporary nature of many productions, they can generate substantial amounts of waste and consume a lot of energy. Reese Ayers meets the people working towards a greener approach to performance art.
A post-apocalyptic future, piled with trash and polluted by plastic. It's a bleak image brought to life on stage by Performosa Theatre in their production Future World Hypothesis at the famous Cloudgate Theatre in New Taipei.
We always try to imagine after 300 years later what kind of landscape of we will live. So I think everyone can imagine that a lot of junk or a lot of something that couldn't digest by the sea.
More than an atmospheric story about humanity's fight for survival, the play reminds audiences of the impact people are having on the planet. The sustainability theme runs deep through the production, even to how it was put together.
Probably 95% of the materials that I use are sourced, collected plastic bottles, PET bottles, which have been transformed into these marine-looking creatures. We basically try to avoid buying new materials.
Some smaller grassroots efforts are also putting sustainability at the core of their practices. Theatre Naturally Connected, a production company based in Hsinchu in northern Taiwan, try to be waste-conscious in everything they do, sometimes by leaning into styles of theatre that were born from a lack of resources.
In Poland, we have a famous director, Grotowski, and he was a founder of the poor theater method. The actor that can create everything from his imagination and this inner landscape that it's created in his mind, and the rhythm of the body can make a music, and so it's really the less the better.
The move towards sustainable theatre practices has gained traction in recent years, becoming an international collaborative mission, with Taiwan playing a key role. A symposium on diversity and sustainability in the arts is being held here at the Kaohsiung National Center for the Arts, the biggest such venue in the world, and a building designed with sustainability in mind. It's a joint effort by Taiwan's Culture Ministry and the International Organization of Scenographers, Theatre Architects and Technicians, or OESTAT, an NGO building a global network for people in theatre production, as they agree to stay headquartered in Taiwan for another 5 years.
We are hoping to bring awareness from all the international community that this is the moment, this is the year we need to really look into the possibility of bringing sustainability thinking into theater design.
At the event, conversations about how many small changes to industry practices come together to make a big difference in the environmental impact of a production.
you can't do everything all at once. Choose the easiest, most simple sort of action for you, whether that is changing out your electrical equipment for more sustainable electrical equipment, whether that is considering the paint that you use for your set design.
Every aspect of a piece of theatre or a concert can be examined and tweaked to reduce its energy costs, including using recycled materials to build sets, more energy-efficient stage lights, or finding new ways to repurpose existing props and costumes.
You could maybe take parts of a garment and modify and make a new costume. Or you could upcycle, which means taking, for example, 2 garments and changing them in such a way that you would make a third one, a new one.
Though they admit taking a more sustainable approach to performance design can introduce new challenges.
There is a worry that when you start adopting sustainable practices, that might reduce your creativity.
But as creatives, many in the industry are up for the challenge.
I think theatre companies and theatre makers are often thinking about sort of the cutting edge or what's coming next, whether that is within their community, whether that's in the arts or technology. So they tend to be kind of on the forefront of these sort of global issues, and sustainability is one of those as well.
Theatre has long been a medium that tackles the most pressing issues in society. Now, as the world grapples with an increasingly polluted planet, the theatre industry is reconsidering the role it could play in reducing its impact on the environment. Justin Wu, Alex Chen, and Reese Ayres for TaiwanPlus.
Thanks for joining us tonight for TaiwanPlus News. Head over to our website for more of our reports and our special programs. Finally, we take you to Bolivia, where nearly 80 runners participating in a race across some salt flats. I'm Eric Gao. Take care, and we'll see you next time.